Alright, so hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today I want to talk a little bit about a pretty cool Battacor Riven that I managed to get. Now the Riven was given to me as a gift from Mr. Hyperflux, and he told me I can roll it as much as I want to, which is exactly what I did because I've been getting a lot of Kuva from sorties and the Nightwave. I was actually very happy to roll the Battacor Riven a bunch because the chances of landing something really good for the Battacor are pretty high because you can use generic damage, elemental damage, status chance, crit multiplier, fire rate, all those things are good. And for the most part, the rolls were, what you would expect. Some things were good, some things were not so good, and I was getting a good mix of all the different things. But one thing I did not expect was this. This is, number one, pretty damn rare, and number two, probably the coolest Riven that I've ever rolled. Triple Bane with an irrelevant negative. Now, fitting in the Riven luckily only required one more format for the Riven, and the setup I'm running here is Serration for damage, Split Tumor for multi-shot, Point Strike for crit chance, Vital Sense for crit damage. Then we have the Riven, which once again adds a triple Bane effect and has positive recoil bonus, which is the negative, and that doesn't matter on the Battacor because the Battacor doesn't kick enough to begin with for this to be noticeable in any way, shape or form. Then I ended up going with Argent Scope, even though I was playing around with a third dual stat mod because the orange crits are simply better than the little bit of added status, and it also allows you to streamline your elemental combos for better procs. And then I have two dual stat mods. Now for pure single target, I would go with Malignant Force and High Voltage for corrosive, but what I actually prefer, especially now that I have the Riven, is going with Thermite Rounds and Malignant Force for gas. And this is because Bane mods or faction mods are very good when it comes to gas procs, because the multiplier is added 3 times throughout the calculation. Which means that while corrosive on this setup will still win by a little bit when it comes to heavily armored Grenier, the gas setup isn't that far behind. It's definitely noticeable, mainly because the status chance isn't as high as I would like it to be, because it's around 60%, so sometimes you just don't proc gas for a little bit, but it can take them down pretty damn fast. And it has the added benefit of A, giving you a little bit of AoE on the weapon, meaning that it will clear a lot better, and B, it works a lot better overall for the other factions, which is what I wanted, because I have a Tri-Bane Riven, so the last thing I want to do is still go back to my arsenal screen and switch the elemental mod based on the faction I'm fighting. Now, the reason why I was so excited about this Riven, aside from it being pretty unique and kind of hard to roll like this, is because faction mods are really strong. Stronger than most people realize, I think, especially their primed versions. But people don't use them all that much, and I think the reason is because it's just too much fiddle farting. I switch between factions on almost per mission basis, and I don't want to go to my arsenal every time to flip my Bane mods around. And the primed variants of these mods are even worse because you have to invest an immense amount of credits and endo, both of which can take quite some time to acquire, to even get to this fiddle farty stage where you have to go to your arsenal every time you do a different mission. So people just don't bother with them because it's too much faff. And this Riven basically fixes all those issues. It's the bane of almost everything. It doesn't work versus the corrupted, but I don't think that's that big of a deal because how often do you run very high level corrupted missions? Not that often. So, on top of the Riven being really cool and unique, it also gives me almost a primed Bane mod without any of the faff, and that is fantastic. So if you ever roll a Riven and it has stats that are similar to this, you might want to keep it and play around with it for a little bit, because it can end up being very strong. Don't underestimate the power of faction damage, especially when it comes to damage over time effects. Okay, and that's pretty much all I wanted to say, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.